On Solex kits, this is going to be different for your front and end wall bows. There will be pre-drilled holes both on the top of the bow as well as on the side that is going to face outwards. So on the front, whatever side is facing towards the front is going to have pre-drilled holes, as well as on the back, whatever side is facing out towards the back is going to have pre-drilled holes. And when you assemble these bows, you want to make sure that the screws that connect your peak piece to your bows are on the inside. So to do this, you're going to have your pre-drilled holes that are not on the top but rather on the side. Those are going to be on the ground as you connect your peak piece to your bows from the back of that.
Yeah, you got your 1-inch number 14 tech screws, and it's a 3/8 drive bit. And then we like to kind of stand on both pieces. We're gonna go ahead and pre-drill this with a bit that's just a little bit smaller than the screw itself. Oh, I gotta go first. Yeah, so I noticed the screws were on the near side, or I noticed where the screws were, and we wanted those on the inside. So we had to spin around to make sure those go on the inside. All right, so before you start putting your bows together, you are going to assemble your rafters. So those are the pieces that go horizontally in the middle of the bow. What you'll need for this: drill, impact driver, 5/16 hex bit, which if you're a Milwaukee person, that's the yellow one. And then 3/4 inch number 10 tech screws and your end rail cups. And then your
those end rail cups real quick.
end rail cups. Yeah. So those just slide onto the end here. All right, yeah. And then your rafters will be marked, bundled, somehow labeled rafters. So you can start with one end. Just slide that end rail cup on. We do 2 screws per end rail cup, and you always want to put these screws in line with the spine. All right, remember that. Everybody say with me, in line with the spine. So we mean this is the spine of the end rail cup, right where the eyelet is. Put it in line with that, not out here on the side. So we'll start by making sure that's snug on the end. Just drilling that in right in the middle, and then you're gonna do a second one, 180 degrees, other side, still in line with the spine. Just like that, all right? Then you're gonna flip it over or go to the other end, however you wanna do it. I like to get a screw preloaded here. And then for this one, this is important. You gotta make sure that this is in the exact same orientation as the other ones. And I like to just hold this up with it right on top, eyeball it, and then slide this one on and kind of line up that tab, like sighting it down like a gun sight almost, to line it up so they're both pointing straight up. Hold that in place. That's why you preloaded the screw, so you can keep this one hand on here. And then drive that. Now it's held in place. You can do your second screw on the other side. All right, and that's one rafter. These rafters only go on the interior bows. If you look, like we have the end bows for this unit up already, and you can imagine if we had these on the end bows, they'd be in the way of the rest of the end wall framing. So these only go on the interior bows. So we're putting an interior bow together. The only difference is this has a rafter, which we just showed you how to assemble. To put all the rest of this together, what you'll need are 2 brace bands, 2 carriage bolts that come with them, and then your 4 number 14 screws to screw the bows together. So before you screw the bows together, you can slide these brace bands on from either end, since it's not attached yet. Just slide those on so they are staged and ready. And then you're gonna put these swage pieces together just like usual. All right, so that bow is together. We just need to get our rafter on there now. So you're just gonna roughly get that in place and then use those carriage bolts to attach. So carriage bolt. Oh, and another thing, look at how these eyelets are, right? They stick out one side. They're not exactly centered. We want the eyelet facing up on the bow, so it's like that rafter's hanging down. So hold that up, just get that bolt started. It doesn't have to be tight right now, so get that bolt through there, just get that nut started, a few threads to hold it into place. And then we'll go put this in our ground posts. So if you want all the interior bow screws facing the same way, you could do that. If you want them symmetrical where they're all pointing towards the center, you could do that. And then you might face more resistance squeezing that in. And it's because, look at this, these were loose, right? But it's got some tension now. And so we like to hit that either like that, or a hammer works too, just to dislodge it. And this probably looks super crooked right now. Again, that's okay. Once these bows are screwed into the ground post, we're gonna come back through, throw a level on here, and that's when we'll tighten those bolts. Yeah, so just repeat that process for each interior bow. Slide that rafter on, screw it together, stand it up, put the screws facing whichever way you want. You got all your bows in place. You made sure that your end bows, the screws are facing inside towards the middle of the unit. Your interior bows have rafters on them. It's still windy, check. You're ready to screw in your bows. Ready to screw in your bows into your ground posts. You're gonna be using those 1-inch number 14 screws again for this. And so there's your stopper screw, right? That's what your bow is sitting on. We just like to do 2 kind of evenly spaced from the top of that. You'll just do that on all your bows and ground posts.
We're gonna go ahead and level our rafter now. If you got 2 people, great. If not, you can do it with 1. But if you're working with 2 people, you can kind of shimmy it from side to side and get it about level. And then you're gonna take your number 14 socket. That's what these carriage bolts are. So we're gonna get it nice and snug. Okay, that's a level rafter. Not going anywhere. Yeah, and you just go ahead, do that on all your interior bows with rafters.